So I'm not really sure, but at one point, I made a forum on a Discord art server asking for people to submit their OCs for me to draw. And in the art community, there's plenty of people who would love to see their OC redrawn in different styles. And I thought, perfect. I don't have to come up with an idea and I can use someone else's idea, which sounds a little bad, but I was just really lazy at the time and I just wanted to jump into drawing something, not necessarily creating an entire plan or whatever. Just wanted to find a pose, draw it, whatever, right? And I eventually landed on a character that was not drawn, but more like a Roblox model that someone submitted. And I thought that was super cool because one, I thought it would be really fun and a cool challenge to be able to change something from kind of blocky to something more human-like. I thought it'd be really fun to transition a blocky design over, and frankly, I just thought it'd be like a new way to figure something out, just kind of like a puzzle, essentially. But also at the time, now I play a lot more Roblox than I ever have. In fact, I bought my first Robux last week, my first ever time spending real money on Robux, and I'm still recovering. Honestly, I never ever considered I would ever do it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying Roblox a lot more than I ever have. And as a kid, I've always thought it was kind of like a child's game, too much of a child's game. I always thought that if you didn't have Minecraft, you'd play Roblox. And I just never considered ever playing it. I was very stubborn. I thought it was kind of dumb. No offense, but I really did. I'm being honest. I really thought it was dumb. But frankly, as more and more stuff came out about it, I heard more people using it. I heard the game engine actually surprisingly really good. And I found a lot of the games were quite exciting and quite fun. Like especially the horror game scene, really in Roblox. I eventually turned around, especially with all my friends playing it, and gave it a try. And it was really really enjoyable. But that doesn't really matter. What I'm talking about now is the art. I'm very happy with how this art piece turned out, but there is one big problem. So what you're seeing now is footage of the sketch, the sketching of the body, sketching of the clothing. But sadly, you'll probably notice at one point, or I'll probably cut it at one point, where I'm kind of coloring. At one point in the recording, I left to go see a movie. I left to go see Formula One, the new movie that came out with Brad Pitt. It's an Apple movie. And it was good. It was all right, but that's not really the point. When I came back, I was really ready to draw and finish this because I could tell that this was something that could be really good. Like, I think this could be one of my better pieces that I've created in this year. And so when I sat down, I went right into drawing. And sadly, I forgot to press the record button. I still have the Clip Studio Speed Draw file, which is great because at least I get to see some form of progress. But I didn't record the coloring. And that's normal. I tend to forget coloring. I tend to forget to click the record button a lot because I'm just really eager to draw and I'm not always focused on recording something. But what hurt the most is that this time, this drawing specifically, I try a different way to color. And we're going to cut over to another recording where I'm actually going to talk about it on Clip Studio. But frankly, I just want to describe a little bit of how different this is. When I came into this piece, because this was someone else's OC, and this is going to sound bad, but because it was someone else's OC and not mine, I felt more freedom to experiment, try new things, try new techniques that might not work. But I obviously wanted to try really hard to try to convey their OC as best as I can. But frankly, this time I decided to forego line work, which if you know anything about me and my art, I love line work. Line work is my favorite step in the drawing process, but I thought that I wanted to try something more painterly. Now, I don't think this drawing looks painterly, but I wanted to try more of a painterly mentality where I just colored large shapes and remove coloring, add coloring, remove blocks, and just add some more stuff to eventually form a shape, not necessarily creating boundaries using line art. And I think it turned out really good, which is why it's such a shame that I didn't save the recording. I didn't record the process because it was so different and it was so cool that I just wish I could kind of scroll back and forth and see it. But let's not kind of sit in the past and be disappointed about my mistakes. Let's go into Clip Studio and actually kind of talk about it. Let's actually kind of go see the files and see how different it really was. Okay, so here we are on Clip Studio. This is your first time probably seeing the full piece. So here it is. I think it looks really good, if I do say so myself. I'm very proud of how it actually turned out. I'm very happy with the coloring and the lighting. I'm super impressed with the look of the bright yellow lighting compared to the darker skin tone. I think that looks really phenomenal, and I just think she looks really pretty. I think the OC was transitioned very well, despite the fact that I didn't really do the wings. I've learned in this drawing I don't know how to draw wings, so I apologize. I'll do better. I'll fix it. I'll learn to draw wings just for in the future if I want to draw like an angel or something. Hell, I might even come back and add wings to this piece. You know, you never know. You never know. But yeah, so here's the piece. Here is how it looks with the new coloring style. And I want to zoom in and just have you guys look at it real quick and see if you notice anything missing, especially if you've seen any of my art pieces. What is missing? Also, by the way, take a quick look to the layers. Look how cool it all is. Look how sorted everything is. Oh my god. Look at it. Heads, features, gems, clothes, skin. Look at all that. Oh wait, this is supposed to be all sorted here too. Hold on. Look at it. Look how sorted everything is. It's gorgeous, right? Anyway, so what is it missing? Line work. I think I already said that in the last thing anyway. So to show a better example, I'm going to show you how my pieces usually look, right? Usually, you do line work, and in a way, you're essentially creating your own coloring book. You're essentially creating your own guidelines, or some would call boundaries and limits, to where you would place the colors within those boundaries, and then just kind of adding color to what is already a drawing. At least that's how I would explain it, because if you remove the color from it, you still have a drawing underneath. You still have a sketch, a line worked piece, right? So I love that step. I love creating line work. It's my favorite part of a drawing. So what was so difficult is that without that line work, though I was given more freedom because I could manipulate the shape, I could add different things to it, create cool shapes to represent the face, the arms, the limbs, the clothes, the accessories. I was missing that guideline that I used to have that I can color within and feel some safety with a net essentially behind me that would always catch me, because the drawing beneath it was functional. It was good. It was a nice kind of propped up, is a nice foundation for me. But without that foundation, again, I was given more freedom, but I was lost with the shapes, especially for features like hair, which is very free-flowing, which has a lot of strands, has a lot of triangles and broken up pieces, and I had to essentially create my own shapes to represent it instead of having boundaries already pre-made for me. But it was fun. I'm actually going to do this. I'm actually going to remove the background, change it to a light gray so you can see just the picture by itself, and I think it did turn out great. But what is really impressive is that nothing really works until all the pieces are connected together, which is also a big problem I had, because again, if you remove the color here, you still have a finished piece. You still have something below. But if you remove any piece here, it feels pretty incomplete. It feels like each part is, besides the gem, I guess, each part is a fundamental block, and removing it makes it look kind of horrific. Like, let's say if I remove the features, like, well, that looks terrifying. But yeah, it's just very, very new. It felt very, very new. And the best way to show it is, I think, if I remove everything, I'm gonna remove every single feature, and I'm just gonna pull back the skin. If I were to go to the head portion and just clear out all of this, you can see that the drawing itself is just a block of color. In fact, if I remove all of the clipping layers, everything is essentially just a block of color that only very barely represents a limb, an arm, and fingers. Even this doesn't even look anything like thighs. But if you slowly add back everything, you slowly get a 3D form, a shape, adding, and then you add back the where is it? Add back the highlights, and you kind of get what looks like thighs, but you don't fully see it until you add clothing, which then recontextualizes the shapes as this is a dress and thighs come out the bottom of a dress. Who knew, right? And even look, the face, it looks horrible. It looks weird. It looks just like a block of color, but you slowly add back things. Here, this is probably a good example. Look at this. This is just, it just looks like brighter light on randomness. But then you add a shape back, you get the bottom of a nose, right? And then you add back kind of sort of like the line work ish. I think this is it. No. Oh, no, you add back the feature. You get a nostril, and boom, you finally get a nose, right? You can even see these weird shapes right here. These weird shapes, right? They look weird on their own. They're just blocked out shapes. But once you recontextualize it with hair, you can tell that it's shading for the hair. So I just find it very, very so interesting. I find it so interesting that that this is how people color. This is how painters essentially color, just using blocks of shapes and kind of just adding more, removing a little bit, adding more, removing a little bit, adding different shades and colors and stuff. And eventually you just get a fully formed drawing, whether it be environments, a human body, a shape, a tree, or whatever. It's very cool. And yeah, that's why I'm so disappointed that I lost my process, because not only was it harder, I had to essentially reimagine how I would use shapes, and it was just so much more difficult to convince myself that this block of color was a face, because there was no other signifier, no line work that would convince me else. I had to essentially construct a face from shapes, and though frustrating, though difficult, was it really fun. It was like learning something new for the first time in such a long time, and it was so enjoyable. But regardless, I think that's all I have to say, really. I had a lot of fun with this piece, and I'm very happy that a lot of people, especially you Brabs, are giving me suggestions and submissions for me to draw. So I'm sorry it's been a week. I'm sorry it's been a long time and I forgot about the list, but I am now making attempts to slowly go through that list, and I thank you for being patient with me. I thank you for being here, whoever's watching. And if you do enjoy my rambling, if you do enjoy my videos, please like, please subscribe, and I hope to see you again very soon. If you do enjoy, please comment down below. Say, hey, welcome back. I'm not gonna make any promises to anyone who's been here for this channel for a long time, and say I'm not gonna pretend to say I'm gonna upload more often, because frankly, all my promises have been for naught. But I will say that I am still drawing, I am still doing things, and I still want to make videos. So I hope you stick around. Regardless, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening from rambling, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take good care. Bye-bye.